We're talking advanced text animations today on WeVideo's Quick Tips. Hey, everybody. What is shaking out there? Hey, Stu.
What's going on? What's up, Ryan? Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. We missed last week. I was traveling the southern eastern seaboard at a few events last week. I was at FETC in Orlando. So if I saw you there and you're checking out the show for the first time, welcome in. But yeah, we missed a week, but I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back here in the studio. Any highlights from FETC you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, FETC was great as always. Lots of booth traffic. Got to see lots of folks for the first time in person that I'd never met. So shout out to new WeVideo ambassadors. I got to meet Frankie Baker live and in person. She's a brand new ambassador out of Frisco, Texas. And then I got to connect with Stephanie Howell, who was a longtime WeVideo ambassador and that has been revitalized with the new advent of our ambassador program. So that was really exciting. We had an event at FETC where we got to meet some of these folks and celebrate them and their work. So it was quite a good time in Orlando, Florida.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I know Frankie Baker puts a ton of stuff out on social, some really great resources. She had a tech challenge that she put out recently, and that was really cool. So excited to have her part of the program. And I think Stephanie Howell, I think she put out an example for this month's creative challenge. I'd have to double check that, but I believe that one of hers is out there on social as well. So worth looking that up too.
Absolutely. And we're talking about the word of the year. We're going to continue sharing some different tips on how you can participate in this month's creative challenge. As Stu just mentioned, we have some folks that have already submitted that are sharing content for that this month. And in our first episode of the year, which was 2 weeks ago, we did show you and share with you the creative challenge for this month, and it's creating your word of the year using our text features, animating text, making the word that you have sort of come into 2025 with and making it a creative experience by designing some animations around it or whatever it is. And we showed you some basic ways to get started with that. But today's episode is going to focus on some more advanced animation that you can do with text. So if you've done projects like this in the past or you're familiar with how to animate text, Stu's got a couple of cool tips up his sleeve to show you today to take that animation to the next level. Before we do that, a quick, I kind of teased it when we were talking about meeting our new ambassador cohort at FETC. The next couple of weeks, we're going to be reopening our ambassador application for the spring semester here. We're trying to admit cohorts of new ambassadors to the WeVideo community, to the WeVideo family twice a year. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the coming weeks. So if you are interested in learning what it takes to become a WeVideo brand ambassador, stay tuned for that. We'll most likely do a little reveal on this show about how you can get your hands on that application and what you need to do to prove your worth as a WeVideo product champion and brand ambassador. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, super fun community, worth joining. Lots of super talented educators that are part of that community, and so it's a great opportunity to connect with other educators that are doing really interesting things in the field, and just be connected with us here at WeVideo. And so please do check out the application if you're out there and you use WeVideo and you're excited about what we're doing here.
Yeah, especially if you're somebody who's going to watch this episode on advanced animated text.
Yeah, we want you.
You're the right person for our ambassador program. No, I'm kidding. But really, this isn't like super advanced. So if you're viewing this and you're thinking, oh gosh, I haven't even done simple tricks. These aren't, by no means meant to dissuade you from coming into the product and trying these things. It's just if you've done, maybe one kind of animation, this will help you sort of elevate your game in terms of of what you can do with text. So we've got a couple tips, so let's jump right into it, huh?
Cool. Yeah. So I made another example for this month's creative challenge, for the Word of the Year creative challenge. This one, of course, using the word gratitude. And basically with this one, what we're doing is we're taking some of the concepts that we covered in a previous episode where we went over the features of WeVideo that you can use to custom animate text. And so some of those features were things like position and scale, which can be accessed through the animation tool in the effects panel by double clicking on a video clip or on a text block. Things like opacity and color, and then layers. So we're sort of taking those features or sort of foundational concepts, and then we're combining them to do some more creative things. So that's sort of what we're doing. We're sort of taking that a step further. So here's the example that I came up with, and then we're going to talk about how you can create some of these effects in the editor. All right.
Sweet. I love it. There's so many cool little tricks in there.
Yeah. So some fun things going on there. So starting with the color gradient effect that we have going on, and that's actually super simple to create. So I'm gonna jump over to WeVideo, and so this is using the Word of the Year assignment that's in the assignment ideas library. And the Word of the Year assignment, it's the one that aligns with our creative challenge this month. It comes with a starting block, and the starting block is actually set up with this color gradient. And so I'll just turn the volume off here so I can talk over it. But if we look at this, it's set up with that same color gradient that I used in that video. And so all that is our transparent text, which is accessed here via text, and then expanding titles. We've got this transparent text. So it's just that transparent text laid over a video. And that was found by searching something like colorful animations or colorful backgrounds. I think I found it there. So it should be, in this section. And so that's all it is. Yeah, it's just the transparent text laid over that video clip, that colorful animated background. It creates a really cool effect. And so to do some of the things that I did in that video, what I actually did is I started with just this simple starting block, and I exported that. So I exported just this video clip, and then I imported that into the editor so that I had that color gradient text that I could then use to layer and do some different things with. Because if I tried to, for example, if I wanted to have gratitude show up more than once, right? And I tried to do that without exporting it, that wouldn't really work because I guess theoretically, I could crop this, but it just gets a little more challenging with overlap. But if I move this, because there's the black around the text, it doesn't really work. So that's why I exported it first, so that then I could kind of edit those separately.
So would you explain how they could export this from the assignment ideas library?
Oh yeah, well, if you turn in your project, and then, so I'll go ahead and turn this in. And then you navigate to, so this was done from the assignments library. So it was assigned as an assignment. So students, access that by going to classes and opening their class. And then I have two of those assignments here. So the one I just turned in as a student gets moved to my turned in page. And so I can access the export here. But then also from within a project, just go back to let's go to a new project just to demo this so it's not too cluttered.
Yep. Yep.
Over here on the far left, you have all these options. A new option now is exports. And so you can actually access your exports there and then sorry about the sound there. And then drop that down into the video track. So let me get the actual, the one that's just the basic export.
And while
There we
you're
go.
finding that, just to clarify, that's the workflow where as a teacher, you're assigning this from the assignment ideas library to students, and then students are going to turn this in if you want to modify that starting block as is, and they can work from this export in a separate project. So you can also just complete this activity with students by assigning it from the assignment ideas library directly to a class, and students can edit and modify the design from within the assignment itself. This is kind of an extra step to use to essentially create a template for a new project that you're wanting to modify.
Yeah. Yeah, so as far as like some of the effects that you see in that video, one of the things that I did was have this like cascading effect. So let me open up that editor. So that's like the beginning of this video has this kind of like cascading fall and then rise with the text. And let's see if I can just show this moving the playhead.
I'm going to go ahead and minimize that preview window so we can see all those beautiful tracks that you have down there.
Yeah, this, like this?
Yeah.
You're saying? Yeah.
Look at all those layers.
Yeah, a lot of tracks involved in this one.
He put a bunch of different styles of animation in here. He's going to focus on a couple of these particular ones.
Yeah, so for this one where I had this kind of like cascading effect where it's just the text is just all it's doing is it's just changing its position, moving down. I basically left it as is with the starting block with the background and then the transparent text over it. And really this could have all been done on a single track. It's just I just wanted to be able to keep track of like the clips a little bit different, a little bit easier. So all I did is I just like trimmed the text, changed the position, which you can do by double clicking, and then clicking and dragging this around. You don't even actually have to double click into here. You can just do that from the preview window. But I like to be able to use the X and Y coordinates so that I could keep like the X at -75 as it goes down. So it would just be like a straight line going down. So that could be helpful. But that's all that is. Like I didn't actually use the exported media for this one. It's just changing the position and then having, when it comes back up, having those positions match the previous ones. And then I just tried to have the length of each text block here kind of align with like the beat of the music so that it would kind of be synced up with the music.
Nice.
So in this case, 5 frames per second kind of matches the beat of the music. So that's all that one is. And I think it's like a cool effect. And then because it has that color gradient underneath, there's like a lot more going on than just this text cascading and falling, right? So it's kind of combining that color change and then position to make a cool effect. And then let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next one here, and then we'll come back to that one. So then we've got this one where the text shows up multiple times on the screen, and so for this one I used the export, and so I brought the exported media in. I double clicked on it, came down in here, cropped it so it just fit the text without the black background. Change the position, and so like if I were gonna do that, I'll just move to the end of my timeline. Oh wait, I probably won't be able to do that. Here, let me go into where, let me see if I can jump into here. Yeah, I'm going to unsubmit this so I can demo this here. It'll be a little bit easier for people to see. So basically for this one, let me bring the export down. Basically what I did is just copy and paste this and drag it on top, and then just move the, oh, oops, here. I'm gonna undo that. So what I did here is I cropped it. So boom, boom.
And it's super easy to crop. You can either do it with the slider or you can actually do it from the preview window.
Right. Yeah, I could also just drag from here.
Yep.
So just cropping this, right? And then changing its position. So because this is now it's now a video clip instead of text, because this is the exported media. So now I have all these options I can also play with in the effects panel. But like I'm noticing the X is, let's just make this a nice round number, maybe 300. The X-axis is 300. So I would just drag this up, make it 300 again. Maybe we want this to be a nice round 50. And then I would just copy this and paste it using Command C and Command V on my keyboard. And then it's already cropped now. We've copied and pasted a cropped piece of media. So now I would just come down here. Again, maybe make this a nice round number, make sure the X-axis aligns. And now the cool thing is that the color gradient is lined up since we just copied and pasted this. So then I can trim this if I want this to like cascade. Like this clip is set to 302. So maybe I want to trim this like 5 frames. I can kind of like count that out. But then now it's going to appear. Okay, but the color gradient's going to be aligned because I lined them up and then I just trimmed it instead of moving it over.
Yeah, that's really cool and a really simple way to make it an even more dynamic video. So instead of just having the same color gradient with all of the different positioning of the word, now you're changing the colors, which is cool. Yeah. And super easy, right? Because and use the copy and paste to your advantage. You don't have to keep dragging the export in, trimming and cropping. It's just an easy copy paste, and you can build your animation that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, but like, you know, and you could play around with that too. Like if I wanted the colors to follow each other, you know, I could kind of have this one leading, and then set this and slide this over, and so then they wouldn't match, but they would kind of like follow one another. I could do something like that. So you can kind of play around with like how you want that to be set up. Okay, so that is that second effect. Let's go back into here. Okay, so then the third effect I wanted to show is this scale, that scale animation there, okay? And that's done a little bit differently than a simple scale animation because you can see that this is broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 chunks or 8 pieces of media or clips. And so basically the reason I did that is so that I could kind of change the speed of how the text is scaling up and then scaling back. So it's not just one linear motion forward and one linear motion back. It starts slow, speeds up, and then slows down at the end, and then returns in that same kind of arc, like slow, fast, and slow, which is more true to how in animation and how like movement in reality tends to happen. And it looks a little more intriguing. It's a little more interesting, right? And so you'll notice like this first one, to change the scale, you just double click on the text and come into animation, and you can change the start and end scale. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, so this first one is actually not animating. It's just the scale is 1 and 1 on the start and end. The second one is animating from 1 to 1.05, so not moving very far, right? Not increasing very much. The third one is moving from 1.05 to 1.5, so a much larger scale increase over the same amount of time, right? These are all 5 frames. And then the fourth one is going from 1.5 to 1.55. So again, the same scale increase as that first one that was moving, right? So a move of 0.05. So it goes 0.05, then it goes 4.5 scale increase, and then 0.05 scale increase. So it goes slow, fast, slow over the same time. So
It's a
I
math
mean, you could
lesson
even,
there too.
I know you could even do stuff in the math class with this,
Yeah.
right? And then it's just reversing. So then it's just the same 1.55 to 1.5, 1.5 to 1.05, and then 1.05 to 1. And then our 5 frames of just being still.
This
And so
tried and true trick in animation in general, right? Like it's something that animators use quite a bit.
it's called easing. So
Mhm.
you can ease keyframes to
Mhm.
and then use like a graph editor to get this effect, and you can replicate that in WeVideo pretty easily. And all you do is you just start with your 5-frame clip, copy and paste it. In this case, 7 times, and then go in and then just adjust the start and end position. So it's really not that hard. And let's see if this will play, get this effect. So, and again, try to time that with like the audio. So it's like,
Yeah. And that's even another sort of level and layer to that is like, okay, you've got the easing technique. And now what you want to do is you want to try to pair it with music that accentuates it, I feel like. And you always find great beats. I always tell you this on these
I really
shows.
like this one. This song,
This is a
I
good
was
one.
like, yeah, I
Yeah.
want to find the band. I need to find this band. So I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to
I mean,
I want to go
I
see
want to
them
find the
live.
band that makes all these cool beats for WeVideo, you know?
Yeah, this one was particularly good, I thought.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, it's really, I think it's a nice end to the concept of easing, like you're talking about this, the way you can easily copy paste and then scale it that way. And that really is teaching a professional animation concept
Technique.
in a really simplified way. And this project's a great project to put that in for the first time. If this is the first time you're either doing it yourself or you're teaching kids how to do easing, this is a really easy project to do that with.
Totally. Yeah. And the neat thing about this too is like there's an entry point for anyone, right? Like
Yeah.
you could just do the way the starting block's set up, you could just choose your word and leave it like that, or maybe change
Yeah.
the background out, make it
Yeah.
a little bit more yours, but you don't have to get deep into editing. But then, kids who like are maybe more who have more experience, or, just are more intrigued and want to kind of like dive deeper into it, they can. So it's
For
sort of
sure.
like up to you to how far you want to go with this.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure based on your skill
Choose your own
level.
adventure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so this next animation, I thought, this one's pretty cool and also really pretty simple. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so, and there actually is a motion text that does this effect in WeVideo, but this was done using that exported piece of media. And so the way that this was done is just using the crop tool. So I just cropped the word down to the G, and then the next layer cropped it to the R. Next layer cropped it to the A, and so on. So it's just the same piece of media layered on top of one another, and then just trimmed down to appear at different points, and then cropped differently. And then the other thing you have going on here is that the letters kind of come on in a different speed. So instead of, again, just being like a linear arc where they all appear in the same time frame, there's a slight increase in speed as the word rolls out. And that's just done by decreasing the amount of time between, when each letter appears. And you can kind of see that cascading effect here.
Yeah, and another take on playing with speed, right? Like that was in the easing exercise you saw, playing with the speed and the rate. This is the same thing. So experimentation with that can be a lot of fun, right? And it can be part of your creative process. That's like, oh, I'm gonna see if I start slow, go fast, or maybe start fast, slow down, and those different, just subtle tweaks in the transform tab that you can control is a really cool way to add a touch of dynamics to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a subtle effect to your point, but it has an impact, right?
Yeah.
And basically, and then you can kind of look at this too. It's like kind of represents an exponential curve. So again, ways you can tie math into this.
Yes, be math teachers out there looking for a way to get creativity in your classroom. Here's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Okay, this one's cool. So this is building on the one we just looked at. Okay, so similarly, I believe if I remember it correctly, yeah, this is using that same effect of cropping, and then oh, actually, okay, so for this one, okay, it is a little different. So for this one, I just cropped each letter and then layered them over one another. And then I use the animation tool as well. So you'll notice that as these appear, they're sliding to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can show that. Yeah, you can see they're sliding to the left. So starting somewhat towards the middle and then sliding to the left. So that's just using the animation tool here. So changing, you'll notice the Y position is going to change, or the X position is going to change from 650 to 300 for the G. For the R, from 835 to 501. Okay, so it's just using the animation to have it slide over. And then you'll notice there's this mirror effect here, which is pretty cool. And so all that is taking the exported piece of media, this one, right? And I'll just do this on a track above. So it's just pulling this in, and because this whole thing, let's see, let me zoom out here. So it's pulling this in, and then this whole thing kind of repeats. Basically, where I wanted to have it reflect, I just came in here. Well, actually, this might not be perfectly lined up, but that's okay. But basically what I did is I took this finished piece of media that has this animation in it of the gratitude sliding over. I layered it on top and cropped it, as you can see. And then I came in here to the transform tool, and I just, let's see, I flipped it vertically and then flipped it horizontally. Yeah, there we go. Wait, let me double check.
So you get that mirror image over the.
Yeah, I guess I just flipped it vertically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then adjusted the opacity. So instead of being 100, adjusted it down to, in this case, 25, and that gives it that nice sort of mirror reflective quality. And because it's an exported piece of media that already has that animation, it actually animates with
along with the text that you've already been building.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fun effect there.
So that's kind of a two-step thing right there, right? So you would have to create the animation, export it, and then use that to add the mirroring effect.
Yeah. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's why this was not working because I was using the original export. But yeah, you're
Right.
right. In this case, it was this finished video that I dragged down.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, it was the finished video that I dragged down. So if we bring that over, yeah, now this should line up. So yeah, and then just splitting it.
Splitting it and then adjusting the flip to flip it vertically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting rid of what we didn't need.
Tab.
Yeah, and then flipping it vertically. Okay, so then I think I just lost something. I'm just gonna undo this real quick. There we go. Oh yeah, okay, because I deleted that accidentally. Yep. Okay. Okay, and then one more I wanted to show that's kind of fun is this this animation. Here, I'll close out of here and try to force it to
sometimes go. When you're in the project, you've got a lot of pieces of media on a timeline. The preview doesn't like it.
There are a lot of tracks in here, so
yeah. How many tracks do you have in there total? It's got to be like 15 at least.
I think 11 tracks, but then
11,
a lot of pieces of media, though. Yeah. Typically, people aren't going to have this many pieces of media in a project.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, the one that I wanted to show is this like bouncing effect. Okay, and so the way I did that, let's expand this out again. And I'll zoom in a little. So the way I did that is just trying to get it to show. Okay, there we go. So I had the G. So again, like cropping the letters, right? So I had the G animate in. So the X position changing and it's animating in. And then there's like, you notice it kind of fades in terms of its opacity. So if you turn on opacity level, you can create keyframes and move that around. So I just had it fade in there as it's sliding in. And then once it slid in, I introduced the R, and I had the R also, the opacity, fade in. And as the R is fading in, it's also animating its position. So its start position is here, its end position is up here, so bouncing up to the right. And then the next clip, I had it start where it ended before, up towards the top right, and then end back down alongside the G. And then the next one, I had it just bounce up slightly. So it's start position, end position, it bounces up slightly. And then I had it bounce back down. So starting where it just ended and then bouncing back down. And then the rest is just static. It's just there. So I just repeated that for each letter. So I just had them kind of fade in as if like the G bumped the R and the R bumped the A and the A bumped the T, and they all kind of, but then they all just follow the exact same pattern. So once you get the first one down, you just replicate that with each letter to kind of create that cause and effect. Effect.
And again, something that looks really cool, but that's not really difficult to execute in here at all. I mean, once you learn how to do it and position it and get the opacity right with the way that you want to animate it, it's completely replicable over and over again, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, not super difficult, but like fun to figure out, a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of adjusting things timing wise to make it work.
Totally.
But yeah, it's kind of a fun process of like, oh, I want to create this effect. How can I make that happen using the things that I know, or what can I discover just by playing around and doing, having trial and error. And so it's a fun process to kind of like, figure out like what you can accomplish and tweak things and sort of iterate on your process, on your creative process, and
Yeah,
see what you can do.
absolutely.
So yeah,
And it looks like, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, those are the main ones that I wanted to share from that specific project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I think there's a lot in there. I'd encourage you to go back and find your favorite one, rewatch it, and then take it to your creative challenge. We've still got the rest of the month of January for you to submit or to submit your student work and enter the contest to win some great swag for you and your students in your classroom. If not, this is just a great way to set the course of the year and bring creativity into your classroom with some crafty video editing. And look, we call this advanced text animations, but really, as Stu showed you, it's replicable once you kind of practice and get down or even experiment and find what you like to do with your text. It's really easy to reproduce and it's simple to teach your students. Use this video, share this video in class as a way to teach your students how to do this. Don't shoulder all the work yourself. Maybe there's a student that already knows how to do this, then they can help you facilitate this activity as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have a few videos now on like custom text animation, and
Yep.
so you could pull those videos and put them into a playlist and do like a mini course on text animation and just animation in general over the course of a few class periods, and that could be kind of a fun way to dive deep into digital literacy and creativity skills for students.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's see your creations. We love to see your work. We love to share your work. If you are completing this challenge and you do share your work, make sure you share it with the hashtag WeVideoCreative, and we'll retweet you, repost you, whatever it's called these days. I can never get the new lingo down on any of our social platforms that you follow us on. So we can celebrate you and your work and your students' work if you're allowed to share that. We always love sharing. We always love seeing the amazing things that you produce. So please share with us. Please submit your project for this challenge so you have a chance to win. And next week, we're going to be rolling out the February Creative Challenge. So come back and join us for that. You do have till the end of the month. January 31st is the final day to submit for our January Creative Challenge, but we'll be back next week to talk about the February one and launch that for you. But yeah, thanks for joining us today on Quick Tips with WeVideo. Stu, I'll see you back here next week. I'll see all of you back here next week as well. But until then, happy creating, everybody.
Happy creating.
Bye now.